Gather round, friends, new and old, and welcome to the POWWOW podcast. I'm your host, Philip.
And I'm David?
I kind of just wanted to see what you would do.
Of course I would roll with your punches, man.
Of course. How are you? You're brightly dressed today. If you're watching our promo video, then you're seeing Phil's bright red shirt.
Yeah, I've got about one in rotation. It's funny, ever since I moved back to Arizona, I've been refusing to exist outside of, 13 shirts or so. So I have the same 13 shirts on rotation. I've got the same pair of... I haven't worn this much sweats in my life, but it's mostly because I know I'm going to be moving. So I'm proactively lazy. I think I've stated this before. I'm the most proactively lazy person you will find, where I will go out of my way to be lazy.
Rotating between 13 shirts is you're describing most guys, I think.
Maybe, but you
is that too presumptuous? Is that too much of a generalization? But I don't have that many shirts.
Do you happen to remember? Did you ever go up to my room in the attic in the loft? We have, man, there are stories there about that. By the time I lived there, I have a fair amount of clothing. Now, I would argue that it's all kind of necessary. It's not bougie by any sense of the imagination. I have the problem that most guys fall into, where it's, I just can't get rid of things if it still quote unquote works, if it still gets the job done, whatever it is. So I have a fairly big repertoire of shirts that I just haven't gotten access to. More so, what I feel the worst about is that I don't have like a business casual look right now, really. I just have like above average, whatever it may be. So that's where I'm existing. That's why I brought the bright red shirt today. It felt like one of the few shirts we haven't done on a promo yet that, hey, let's get inventive. Let's get exciting.
I'm wearing red. It's kind of a muted red. It's like a maroon type red.
Why are we burying the lead? You have a haircut.
Oh yeah.
I do.
Do.
Yes. What's the story here? You feel like almost naked.
Well, yeah, I mean, so I'm getting new headshots without a beard. So I got headshots with like a full, like nice big beard. If you follow me on my actor page, you've seen them. And I'm getting the same photographer, Mikael Olsen. He's amazing. Giving him a second shout out on POWWOW podcast. And he's going to do another shoot without the beard, or at least that's the plan. And I like to get my hair cut about a week, maybe a little more before headshots, because if it's too fresh, then that's not ideal. But if it's grown a little bit, and then once my hair like grows out a little bit from a haircut, it's like starts to curl again. Right now, it's annoyingly straight, but it'll start to curl again soon, and then I'll get my headshots.
Yes, it's not truly representative of the day-to-day Hoffman I've come to know and love, but it's a good one. It's nice to see you straight finally. Now, don't sleep on this episode, but you would be forgiven if you wanted to, because this week's episode is dedicated and glorified by the genre of sleep. Now, I realize that it seems a bit mundane or something, but for me, for myself, and my life and my daily activities, sleep is highly important, highly underrated, and I could sleep right now. I could go to sleep right freaking now.
Yeah, I think that's very reflective of the general population as well. Sleep has become very underrated.
Yes, it's a valuable resource, much more valuable than gold or oil or lumber. I love me some sleep. I can get some sleep now. I can get some sleep. This brings us to what type of conditions are necessary for you to sleep, Hoffman. So we'll talk about later weird places that we slept without these ideal conditions, but on like a night to night basis, Hoffman, what's like ideal? What like fluffs up your pillow? What bushes your bum? Like what makes it so that way you can go to sleep and feel refreshed in the morning?
I guess I would say the important factors are noise. I don't like noise. Like I can't sleep with a lot of noise. I do love like thunder. Things that aren't distracting, like thunder
I think
or
thunder's
rain.
pretty distracting.
But I don't. Nah. But if it's artificial thunder, like if it's coming out of my little Alexa thingy, then it's not really the same. Same with rain or like a waterfall. Like I prefer silence when I'm sleeping. And if I can hear someone talking in another room or something, oh my God. I'm a very deep sleeper, but if there's like noise, then I can't. And then like temperature is another big important factor. I got to be around 20 to 23 degrees Celsius.
And for our Fahrenheit listeners,
fuck you.
There we go, and there's a timestamp right there. Anyways, look, for me, my special needs and what I find necessary in order to go to sleep are somewhat one and the same. The biggest thing that I need is a fan, and I'm talking like one of those dry paint out, whatever it is. I need a fan. I need that white noise of the fan, but also I like having that cooling effect, even if it is warm or even if it's cold. I still turn the fan on and I blow it away somewhere else. I need that white noise. I've come to find out that is quite necessary to my life. My last time in California, I went and I was sleeping on a friend's couch and he didn't have a fan, which is fine. But I realized that even though the air conditioning was perfect, even though I was in perfect contentness as far as temperature wise, I still needed, and I looked up, and on my YouTube search history, you can find a generic box fan, whatever that YouTube channel is. And I listened to that. That's something necessary.
I do love to have a fan when I'm sleeping, like a big fan, that one that makes like a whirring sound. That's like a sound that I guess because it's like actually in the room. It's not like a little speaker making a fan noise. Like it's actually in the room and it's constant and it's like a deep whir, not like a, I don't know, high pitched annoying sound. But yeah, that I can do. All right, I'm gonna take pity on you, all you Farron idiots out there. 20 to 23 is about 68 to 74 degrees Fahrenheit.
I was gonna say that's pretty cold. That's fairly cold. I like it that cold too.
68, but I mean, if it's 68, then I'm gonna have like a blanket on. But like, I don't mind sleeping without a blanket if it's warm enough. Like I've slept in like 35 degree heat in Mozambique, like because we were literally sleeping in like, I mean, I guess you call them like, I don't know, shacks or huts, like with thatched roofs and like no doors, and like you just have a mosquito net over you, and it's like 35 degrees, which is. I can do the math in my head, but that'll take too long. 95. Fahrenheit.
Okay, so that's pretty. It's
pretty hot.
Pretty humid.
Like 30 to 35, so 86 to 95. And yeah, very humid. Like Indian Ocean, Mozambique. Yeah, that was but like no blankets, literally just a mosquito net like hanging above your bed to keep you from getting bitten. But I can do it.
Yeah, two more things for me. One, I like to keep my feet and my hands covered, no matter pretty much what the time is or what the temperature is. I pretty much need to keep my feet and hands covered, like with a blanket or something. So usually it incorporates the rest of my body. But if there was some way that I could sleep with like gloves and heavy boots or something, like that would be fine. The rest of my body's pretty normal to regular temperatures and fluctuations, but it's my hands and my feet that if they get cold, I'm just freezing all night, or I'm just hot all night, or whatever it is. I just need them covered. And then finally, and I know I'm going to get a lot of flack on this one, so I'm a person who sleeps with their mouth open. Unintended. I don't like it. So for both the posterity of my mind, knowing that I look dumb if I sleep with my mouth open, two, for safety, because when we're living in California, there are spiders everywhere. And for a multitude of other, just for dry mouth in the morning, everything else, I sleep with, as an actor, you'll know this, but like mic tape or slightly adhesive tape over my mouth.
Okay, and if your nose gets blocked at some stage?
Hey, look, if it gets blocked at some stage, the tape's not that strong to where I'm going to be choking in the middle of the night on my own lack of oxygen.
That is special. I've never heard that before.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Okay.
True story. True story. I'm not even making that up for the pod. That's something I'm releasing into the world, into the trust tree of the POWWOW. So enjoy. Do with that as you will. I sleep with
At
tape.
least you don't sleep with your eyes open.
Yeah, but I
had a roommate once who did.
What?
It was very unnerving.
Yeah. So did I. But anyways, one last thing here. What's your sleep attire? I think that would qualify under this category. What to what level of pajamas?
It depends on the season. Now that it's June and it's gotten warmer, I just sleep in my underwear. But
so just the tidy whities and that's it.
In the winter, I yeah. And in the winter, I generally would put a t-shirt on, and if it's really cold, I'll put like pajama bottoms on. But usually, I don't put any like pajama pants on. And if my feet, only if my feet are like ice blocks, and when your feet are really cold and it's like impossible to get them warm, then I will force myself to put socks. Like I'll just have to put socks on. But otherwise, I hate sleeping with socks. Can't do it.
Absolutely agreed with that. I can't sleep with socks. I always, pretty much no matter what, will always wear an undershirt. I will wear some form of pants, and then of course underwear. Naturally, I don't know why that came last, but it's not ordered that way. I'm not sleeping with tidy whities on the outside, but usually that combo, I'm sure you, Hoffman, have seen it sometimes, but that's the combo. Go to sleep in. I don't like to be, some people can sleep naked. I can. It doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel natural. I need to have some layer between me and my bare skin and whatever I'm laying on. So what type of mattress and or pillow? So are you a firm, a softy? Do you like to, does it differ between the two?
Somewhere in between. Like not too firm, not too soft. It's kind of in the middle. I most recently have not had a mattress with a spring, but I've had springs before. They're not the most comfortable, but they certainly aid certain bedtime activities sometimes. Sure. And pillow, I have to have like a down pillow, a down feather pillow. And same with like the duvet cover. Like I'm a big, like I like down. Unless it's summer and it's warm, then I might have a down one. A down duvet. Yeah. A down pillow. Yeah, and same with the duvet. Like it's got to be, unless in summer it'll be like maybe a thinner, lighter one that's not too hot.
I realize sometimes I can be uncultured swine, but what is a duvet?
A duvet is like it's like a giant. Do you know what a down pillow is?
No.
It's like, like down feathers. Like you have birds have contour feathers, and then there's the fluffy like ones that are like underneath for insulation. They're like fluffy feathers, like really like light.
Is it?
You know that? Those kinds of feathers?
Is it like a throw pillow?
No.
Oh.
No, like a regular pillow, but it's filled with feathers instead of like, I don't know, synthetic material, whatever.
Sure.
Anyway, so a duvet is like a really big like blanket that you put inside a cover.
Oh. Okay.
And it has there's a duvet cover, which is like a pillowcase but for a full-on blanket.
See, for me, this is all just fanciness. I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's rather run-of-the-mill, but for me,
I don't think it is. Especially if you grew up or have ever lived in like colder places.
Okay, fair enough. For me, I'm much more of a softie. I'd like to be swallowed whole like a marshmallow inside of my bed. And of course, whenever it comes to a pillow, this is my little dirty secret. One of the many that I have for sleeping. I take sleep so seriously. I enjoy sleep. When I sleep hard. Me and Sleep are friends. We get together each and every night and we have some fun. And so whenever I go to sleep, my second biggest purchase, that it's not like a car or something. My second biggest purchase is my pillow. And it shames me on how much I spent on that pillow. But damn if I don't enjoy that pillow. I love that pillow. That is my favorite pillow. And I used to be a multitude pillow, so that way I can contort whatever I need to. But ever since I got that pillow, it just rocked my world. That pillow is good. It's almost like a sleep mattress pillow where it's like it comes with the bed, but it contorts to you. It's smart and it's cooling. Weirdest place or places you have slept. Now, you mentioned earlier that you might have one there with the mosquito net and everything, but
I guess, yeah. Weirdest place that I slept in like I've gone camping, obviously, and I slept in a hammock in the woods by a lake in Kentucky, and that was not so nice because it started to pour down with rain, and I didn't like cover that I had over my hammock was not very good. So yeah, I guess maybe Mozambique in those chalet, those huts with the thatch roofs and everything. Maybe I feel like there's more interesting places. I've slept in obviously lots of houses of, I guess I don't know, the people who own the houses maybe was a little bit more weird, but I don't know, that's not so interesting to our listeners. I do have this provides me a nice opportunity to talk about the locations. So I have a sleep app called Sleep Cycle. I think it's the most popular sleep app available. And it gives me all sorts of stats based on like certain activities that I do throughout the day and how those affect my sleep, and also how different locations have affected my sleep. And it's actually kind of interesting. When I've gone to San Diego, my sleep increases apparently by 7%. I've only spent a few nights in San Diego total, but 7% on average. And for example, New York, minus 11%. I don't know why. London, minus 14%. Arcadia, minus 15%. It's actually kind of interesting. Amarillo, Texas, minus 4%. I only spent one night there, but I guess it wasn't that good. And then where else? Okay, the best one by far is Simi Valley, California, plus 13%. I don't know why.
Maybe it's something in the air.
I guess I loved Simi Valley, California, and Aubrey, California. Two places that I have only spent a couple nights, and plus 12% and plus 13%.
I think we have a mutual friend who gets a lot of sleep in Simi Valley. Look, for me, weirdest places I've slept, it's not going to be exotic like yours. I took it more as where I'm sleeping kind of degree. So the first one would probably be the dentist chair. I've been told many times how weird it is that I fell asleep while getting a dental exam when I was younger, while they were in there examining my teeth. I was tired and I felt at ease. There was a point in time in my life where I wanted to be a dentist. I was just at complete ease. Obviously, I could tell that they were going in there. I naturally sleep with my mouth open. So it was all just the perfect circumstances for me to fall asleep. Additionally, probably the weirdest place I've ever slept, I fell asleep in the shower.
Oh.
Have you ever fallen asleep standing up in the shower?
I think almost. Yeah, almost. Not quite, though.
Listen, David, you have not lived until you've gotten to near the end, to the final gym battle of a Game Boy, a Pokemon game. The night before, you stay up with the sheets over, and you're playing underneath there until the battery needs a charging. So then you pop, and then you put it to the side until you can get double A's in the morning from your parents. You go to sleep, and you look over, and all you got was 4 hours of sleep. And it's the second time that your dad wakes you up, and he's like, "You get in that shower. You go now." And I'm like, "Yeah." And you go and stand in that shower, and they're pounding on the door like, "What is taking you so long?" And you wake up, and it was like a second. You have not lived the life that I have until you can finally attest and say that you fell asleep stone cold standing up in the shower, just nodding side to side, just boom. It is a life. It is a life well lived.
Okay.
How much sleep do you need? And I believe that you have some research and information regarding this one.
I have a deep dive.
Ooh.
I'm bringing some knowledge to you and our listeners. All of a sudden, POWWOW is about to get real serious.
Let us put on our glasses.
If you compare it to last week where we were just talking about our hypothetical apocalypse scenarios, this is actual. Like, I did a couple hours of deep dive research on sleep, and I found a few things that I want to share with the listeners.
Okay.
How much do I get? Usually, I guess about between 6 to 8 hours, somewhere in there, which is not enough or kind of enough. So there's something that I've read about called sleep debt. And there was a study done into sleep debt that tested participants who'd been there. So there were some participants who had been awake for at least 24 hours. And then there were those who had been getting 6 hours of sleep every night for several days. The way that they tested them was using a psychomotor vigilance task, or PVT. So everyone did this PVT. And so the results definitively worsened over time as the participants became more and more sleep deprived. What's interesting is that the results of those who had gotten 6 hours of sleep for 10 nights were not actually discernibly worse than those who had been awake for 24 hours straight. So being awake for 24 hours straight, like actual short-term serious sleep deprivation, is actually no worse than only getting 6 hours of sleep for 10 nights straight. That surprised me, and I think that's very interesting. It goes to show that 6 hours of sleep, even if you are not tired, if you get 6 hours of sleep and you feel fine and that's enough for you, chances are, like, you're a human like anyone else. You need more than that. And what you're doing to yourself is not performing at your peak because you're not getting that 24 hours. You're effectively doing the same thing to your brain as not getting sleep for 24 hours straight.
Wow.
In the modern time, the demands of our social and professional lives, coupled with in our homes easy access to communication, internet, and entertainment, on-demand entertainment, have resulted in an hour less sleep per night on average per American adult since 40 years ago, compared with 40 years ago. That I found very interesting. What's also, so this is the further into the deep dive. I read a lot about how sleep deprivation actually affects your own longevity and how long you're actually going to live. So without going too far into the numbers, because there are a lot of studies with a lot of different findings that are very interesting, the conclusion that I drew when looking at the relationship between sleep and length of life is that there is a sweet spot. So around 8 hours of sleep for any adult is ideal. More or less than that can be detrimental to your health. Even if you feel fine after 6 hours, again, and don't feel tired during the day, too little sleep can effectively knock time off the end of your life. And also, in different ways, too much sleep can also negatively affect your health. That I also found interesting. That I had no idea before. There was one study where they discovered that sleeping more than 9 hours and taking a 90-minute plus nap can increase your risk of stroke by 85%.
Yeah, that's a lot of sleep.
Does that not kind of blow? Yeah, well, it is a lot of sleep, but there are some people who sleep like 10 hours. You know, and it can be a sign of depression. It can,
but you know what? That's
sign of depression.
Yeah, that's true for me. Where I the way that I react to sadness or real darker emotions, I immediately want to go to sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be a sign of. I'll just say it can be a sign of diminishing or just poor mental health. So sleep 8 hours every night as much as possible. Get your 8 hours, try not to sleep too long, get yourself out of bed, and you'll probably find that you're happier, healthier, and performing at your peak if you're getting 8 hours of sleep. Even if you feel like you run fine on 6 hours, get those extra 2 hours. It's worth it.
Yeah. To that point, how much do you need? I usually find myself to be pretty adamantly needing 7 to 8 hours. The moment I go below that, the next day, the first day after I don't sleep very well, if I get like 5 hours and below, the first day I'm fine. Like I have an energy high once I can get out of bed. For like the rest of the day, I actually perform fairly well. I feel as if I can conquer the world and do everything to an elevated degree, oddly enough, until I crash at night. But if I go 2 days where and
that's the adrenaline. That's the adrenaline that's keeping you up at that peak sort of performance.
Yeah, if I pull that stunt for 2 days and on, I'm horrible. I'm moody. I can't get things done. I'm horrible if I don't get my sleep a couple days in a row. So I need about 6 to 7. Now we go to how long have you gone without sleep? Again, if we're thinking of that idea of the 24-hour cycle where you don't get any sleep for that long and the ill effects that can come from that. What's the longest, Hoffman, that you've gone in a row? How long have you gone without sleeping?
I think on a couple occasions I've done it's not so much straight, but I've done one night I know that I can think of 2 instances. One when I was 11 and I was sick. I went one night, only slept about 4 hours. And then the next night I didn't sleep at all. And the following night I was finally sort of recovered and I slept 18 hours in a row, like just straight 18 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, that was insane. I went to bed at 9 p.m. and I got up at 3 p.m. the next day. And then there was another instance in high school when I was doing a project and I was up until like 4 one morning, got up at 7. So I only got like 3 hours sleep. And then the next night I didn't sleep at all. I was working on the project, finished it, took a shower and went to school. And then again, like I went to bed like super early that night and I didn't sleep 18 hours. But I think there were also some instances at university, but I think I've completely blocked those out because those were so stressful. And back when I was doing my engineering degree, so stressful and just painful and not worth remembering. So I think my brain has just deleted those.
You bring up an interesting point as far as like what's the longest you've slept. The longest I've ever slept was like 12 hours, and I felt pretty proud of that. And that was with the aid of outside forces and depression. So 12 hours is pretty much like the longest I can go. I cannot even fathom how you felt coming out of that 18 hours. That's insane to me.
I felt great.
I bet you did.
I felt great. I was 11 years old though, so it was a while ago.
And then how long have I gone without sleep? I've gone about 36 to 40 hours, man. I've pulled a couple, like you said, all-nighters in college, high school of out of necessity. You go straight into the next day. I think the worst ones of all I've ever found to be the most nerve-wracking, because it's one thing if you're staying up to write a paper. It's like it's there, it's tangible, it's done. The worst for me was whenever I was acting and I had to stay up like the night before a very important memorization deadline, whether or not it be tech week, whether or not it be all lines are done, or whether or not it be a performance. Like the few times that has happened for me and a cast where we weren't memorized until like opening night. Those, and ever you're staying up late and you're already tired, and then you're trying to be your best. But anyways, 36 hours to 40 hours, somewhere in there where I've stayed up the entire night, went the next day, and then I took my normal 8 hours, or now I guess 10 would be trying to accumulate what I lost.
Right.
36 to 40 hours is pretty much the longest I've gone, and I needed 8. I needed those 5-hour energies to help push me through, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's I'll share some of like just for more from my sleep app, just a few factors, like a few activities throughout the day that affect my sleep either positively or negatively. The number one positive is a sleep drug. I guess melatonin, or what else? Plus 9%. I get good sleep there. When I read a book in bed, plus 6%. That's weird. Don't get it. Weed, plus 2%. If I take a bath, plus 1%. A massage, plus 1%. Interesting. Here's the negatives. Flu, minus 3%. Alcohol, minus 2%. And if I take a nap, minus 1%. And then here's some very interesting. This is I actually really find kind of fascinating. The moon, or there's the weather too, but the moon though. During the full moon, I sleep on average about 1% better.
That's
and like it gives me a graph. The sleep app gives me a graph based on the phases of the moon, and during full moon I sleep 1% better. I like that.
That's odd and quirky, but hey, if it works for you, it works for you.
It's because I'm like a wolf.
Yeah,
my spirit animal is the wolf.
You're on the hunt. Yeah. You're like the wolf.
This is You Can't Handle the Truth. Phil, explain the ins and outs of duck hunting.
Well, it's a well-known tradition that come Halloween time, stupid people will go bobbing for apples. But here's the sick, perverted truth of that. Not everybody has big mouths. Not everybody has a big enough mouth to fully grasp and cresp a wet apple that, let's be honest, we all put our heads in there. We put our hair in there. Who wants that? The much easier bob for apples is the hunt for ducks. You put a bunch of rubber duckies in a tub and you go on the hunt, baby. You just take a big old nibble out of rubber ducky number 7 with the fire hose in it, and you can get their head. They're above the water. It's much more mundane, much more hygienic. We love to hunt for ducks. There we go. Oh, and may I suggest the bobbin in and out weaving method? Yes, the bobbing, weaving in and out method. You swerve down like a snake, like one of those Nigerian snakes that is a water snake and goes around. And if you can't get one correct rubber ducky, you go for another. You just bob and weave. Bob and weave. David, I have a very impertinent and burning question for you. Which is the best salad dressing of all?
The best salad dressing. Forget ranch, forget Thousand Island, forget all those, the ones that you've heard of. Caesar, right? Caesar, people think Caesar's the best. Are you kidding me? Caesar was murdered by Brutus, okay? Brutus kicked Caesar's ass, all right? He literally stabbed him in the back. So if you want great salad dressing, you want Brutus dressing. Brutus is 1,000 times better than Caesar.
I'm just curious. Is there a main ingredient in Brutus dressing at all that one might know of?
The blood of your victims. Yeah, and olives, of course, because it is the Mediterranean.
All right, we go to once more where it's slightly related to the main topic here, but always with a twist or something that just doesn't feel quite right to go with the main topic, yada yada. And this week is no different. We're going to be talking about sleeping with others. Hey, moms, we're still here and we know what you're thinking.
Mom, why don't you skip ahead 10 minutes, okay?
No. We legitimately are talking about sleeping with others. Nothing that you would not find in a holy place where, just naps happen.
I beg to differ. I beg to differ because I have a further deep dive.
Oh.
And this time it is very specifically about sex.
Now, how deep are you going? Are you going balls deep dive or what? Jeez,
Mom, seriously, turn it off.
Go ahead, Mom. Just skip it. Grandma, go beyond here. Click that little 15. All right, here we go. Sleeping with others. Do you want to start with the deep dive, or should we work our way into it? Should we foreplay our way into it?
Let's start with it. All right,
here we go. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to read to you a quote from the Sleep Cycle website. The chemicals produced in the brain during sex, particularly during satisfying sex, may be part of an underlying neurohormonal mechanism that facilitates sleep after sex. There was a 2019 study that of almost 800 participants that showed that 63% of people perceived an increase in quality of sleep after sex, and 59% found improvement in the onset of sleep, meaning that they fell asleep more quickly. Orgasms are important too. Australian researchers found that 60% of adults reported sleeping better after climaxing. Sex and sleep have a wonderful hand-in-hand relationship. Satisfying sex leads to better sleep, which makes you better rested, which means that you perform better when you're having sex, which leads to more better sleep. So have sex consensually and get a good night's sleep.
Get that ass to sleep. Well, we go to what I had planned for this, which was completely innocent, which was completely pious. Nobody would mistake it for a whorehouse. Or whatever it is that you want to talk about. All right. How long, Hoffman, does it take you to get used to another person sleeping wise? Like whenever you're sleeping and you are actually getting down to business of sleeping, how long does it take you to get used to somebody to where you can pretty easily fall into sleep?
I would say a few weeks. Every night, a few weeks. I think it takes some time. I would say maybe 3 weeks. At best. Like it just takes time to get used to, not like being able to roll over to the other side of the bed or to be able to like swing your arm out, and like just take up starfish and take up the entire space. But eventually you get used to it and it's all the better for it. What about you, Phil?
I'm I'm pretty easy when it comes to sleep. I think because obviously I'm not there, but whenever I'm the one sleeping, I feel once I get there, once I'm actually in the process of sleeping, I'm pretty good. It's just towards the extremities, whether it be entering sleep or getting out of sleep, like towards the end, whenever the time is to wake up. Those are the times where I'm really touch and go, where I'm like, this could get me in trouble. But in the middle there, I'm pretty stagnant, pretty good to go as far as sleep. So I'm pretty customizable. If we look at how long does it take, I'm also thinking of like animals. If I'm going to sleep, because some people like to sleep with animals in their bed, and that's not my flavor, but of course I've got to respect that. So if I'm taking into account animals or something else to where it's like an odd outside factor accounting in, I'm probably looking at about a week and a half. I'm pretty easy. What are some annoying...
I got a question.
Oh, go ahead.
I got a question. Yeah. Off the top of my head, you mentioned that you like a really soft mattress. What if you were to get into a long-term relationship where your partner does not like a soft mattress?
I was in this problem, and we went so far as to buy a sleep number. So it was a sleep. Do you not know what a sleep number is? It's where it's essentially two beds just conjoined by some other proper way, whether it be just, they just push them really close. But it's designed so that way air pumps in to both sides of the mattress, and each person can put whatever number they want, whether it be a firmer bed or a lighter bed, and they that's what they get. And so we went so far as to, because she liked a firmer mattress and I liked a softer mattress.
Wow.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes, absolutely. What are they annoying habits you found with others, like that maybe take you away from getting into sleep, or may wake you up, or may keep you up, whatever it may be?
Oh, why don't you answer first so I can think about this for a second?
I've got a friend, and I'm just going to put them on blast, but I'm not going to say their name, but they admitted to farting in their sleep. And it's not who you might think it is I'm referring to, but it's somebody, and they felt so bad because they were in a new relationship, and they were like, I just completely burn-nosed them. So there's that. For me, myself, I have a thing about my face where I don't like it being interacted with. Like, I've always had this weird annoyance of, if I'm in the pool or if I'm just out and about, I don't like, especially like more so than the average person, I feel, getting splashed in the face. I don't like getting like a water bottle splashed down on me. I'm very particular about my face, just in that I don't know what it is. I don't like having interference on my face. So that goes around to whenever I'm with somebody, I don't like hair getting on my face. I don't like the hair, like, especially with like the wind and like the fan going on, it like blows into my face and then it like tickles my face. I'm just so most of the time I'm forced to have the other person like on my chest, and they kind of, you pet it down and what have you, so that way it doesn't blow on you. But there's that. And then there's one other time, actually there've been a couple times where people, I don't know how these people exist, but they do, and they live a fine and happy life, and everybody make their own choices. It's only when it interferes with mine that I start to have a problem with it. So just take that for what it is. I have no idea how people live with 7 alarms when you're supposed to wake up at one time. How is it possible that if you need to wake up at 7:10 in the morning, you start an alarm parade at 6:10 in the morning? I don't understand that. Just wake up at the 1, because then people, the most, it's so annoying. Because they either wake up late and then for some reason are like, oh, I didn't hear my 8th alarm. Well, it's because you had 10. It's because you had 10 alarms and your body's like structured to have 17 alarms. It makes no flipping sense. I don't know how people exist in that world. That's the one time. You know what? That I've had a rough time.
This is at the moment where I'm gonna plug that sleep app again, Sleep Cycle. what it does, listens to you, and it finds the point. So if you say I want to wake up by 7, it'll find the point between 6:30 and 7 when your sleep is the lightest, and it'll wake you up then, and you wake up more fresh. I really recommend start using a sleep app. I mean, we have all this technology. Make use of it. Something that some people do that maybe that or significant others do that that maybe aren't my jam when I'm trying to sleep. I'm not a big cuddle sleeper. And
I get that from you.
Yeah, I just I can't sleep while I'm like intertwined with another human. Sometimes if I'm really tired, sometimes it just happens and it's nice, great, cool. But most of the time I need to like break away and get like fresh air and like cool off a little bit because it's like so hot when you're like tangled up. But just fresh air and like you go back to your side of the bed. Sometimes, I mean, like I can, there's sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, but most of the time I'm like, okay, let's just sleep apart. And if in the night, if we cuddle, great, love it. Here's another thing that people do that annoy, or that women do that annoy me.
Oh.
If I'm gonna spoon you, you gotta spoon me back sometimes, okay? Spooning is a two-way street. Come on.
Amen. Equal spooning. Equality for all.
Yeah.
And here we go. It is game time. We are joined this week by my guest, the one, the only John William Connolly. And he comes from my background, my history. He's a fun little sprightly figure who likes to dance his way to glory time in and time out. And welcome to the game and the day and the week. John, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. That was a lovely intro, by the way. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. Yes, of course. I find you to be one of the more positive and optimistic people in my life. Even though you are a New Yorker, you're quite a conundrum. Now, normally, John, you wouldn't know this, but for everybody listening and everybody who here on the game, David, namely you, we do have a something of a new tradition that we're going to try and implement here where we each got questions for you. David has 2. I have 1 since I know you a little bit better. David, why don't you go ahead and ask John a question?
So my first question for you, John, is a hypothetical here. What movie would you bring back to cinemas if you could for like a week? Which one would you want to see on the big screen again?
So an old film that you've maybe seen, perhaps, that you want to bring back, re-release it in theaters, John.
That's like, wow, that's broad and specific because like that doesn't have to be my favorite movie. Honestly, okay, I'm going to say this. It's a movie called It's Kind of a Funny Story, and it's based off a book, and I think it addresses mental health issues in adolescence very poignantly, and I don't think it got the credit it deserved. So I would love to re-release that.
There we go.
Sounds good.
I think people of a different ilk would have said Star Wars or would have said, I don't know, like you said, their favorite film. I applaud you, John, for not going your favorite and trying to bring about awareness for a good cause. I applaud you. All right, my question, John. Since we really got to know each other on terms of me going to your dorm room late at night along with two other of our group back in our theater days. Well, you're still there, luckily. I'm not. But anyways, back in our theater days, going to your dorm, trying to count out steps, 1, 2, 3. I wanted to know, what is your favorite form of dance?
I would say ballet, just because like the way it makes my body feel, the type of stories I could tell with it.
You know, my favorite story that came from ballet, John, and remind me if I'm wrong, were you in advanced ballet of any kind, or were you with the rest of us at the lower levels?
I wasn't the highest, but I was like one under that.
One under that. Okay. So for those of us who were just starting out, and trust me, I was there. My favorite story of ballet was if you did not wear your undergarment, your man thong, they tried to sell it as something other than what it truly was, which was a man thong. And if you did not wear this, and proudly display it upon your own body, you would be prone to fall privy to the illicit story of one guy who did a turn. You couldn't ask me what it was because I don't know what it is. He flipped his body around midair, and somehow, some way, David, this is a true horror story. He got one berry over the other, and because of it, the ambulance had to be called, and he almost lost one. He almost lost one of the boys, David. He almost lost one of them because he wasn't wearing the proper protection. So if that's not a way to scare you into wearing your proper clothing, I don't know what is. Anyways, David, it's your second one.
Wow. Okay. What this is a very indulgent question for me personally. I love to ask people this. What is the best place, your favorite place that you've ever visited or lived, I suppose?
San Diego.
I love San Diego too.
Yeah, right. It's beautiful. The vibe is so chill. There's always a beach. It's amazing.
Have you ever eaten bread in San Diego, John? Oh no, wait. I'm thinking of San Francisco.
I want to say yes.
I mean, I'm too full on tacos when I'm in San Diego for bread. It's like everything that's bad about LA. It's everything that's good about LA minus everything that's bad about LA. Let me rephrase that a little better. Like it's all the things that you don't like about LA are gone.
Literally, yes. That is the best description.
Let us, now that we've got a little bit more knowledge on John, let's move along. David, do you mind? It is your week, your game. Why don't you go ahead and explain what we're playing here?
I'm taking us back to basics. This is a higher or lower game. So what I'm going to do is give you a stat, some kind of number, and it will probably be, well, it will definitely be incorrect. And I want you to tell me if the correct number is higher or lower. I have 6 questions prepared in case Phil wants to skip one of them, because he does have his skipping stone this week.
I do.
And then if in the event of a tie, I have of course prepared a tiebreaker. Right. Are you guys ready?
I am ready. And just for posterity's sake, I wanted to call, because of our week's genre, I wanted to call this game Sleep Number. David was against it. I just wanted to say that I thought of that. But go ahead, David.
Okay. Well, so yeah, these are all of my stats here are going to be sleep related. They come from the American Sleep Association. Your first one is 58% of people report snoring. 58% of people report snoring. Let's go to Phil first. Phil, is the correct answer higher or lower?
I'm going to say it's got to be lower.
Okay, John, what do you think?
I agree. I mean, I don't think the majority of people snore,
That's it. Fair. So both, John, is that your final answer, lower?
It is, yes.
Okay, you're both correct. Congratulations. You both get a point.
Yeah, baby.
Moving on to the second question. 9% of people report nodding off while driving in the preceding month of being asked that question. Does that make sense? So in the month leading up to being asked, 9% of people reported that they had nodded off while driving at some point during that month.
It goes to John first.
Okay, so it goes to John first. Is the correct answer higher or lower than 9%?
If we're limiting it to just the month that they were asked the question, I'm gonna be risky and I'm gonna say lower.
That's okay. I'm gonna go the opposite of John. This is where I make my run at 9%. I have a whole 91% ahead of me. That's all I'm thinking of here. So I'm gonna go higher.
John, you are correct, and Phil, you lose that point.
Dang.
The correct answer is 4.7%. And I think I did miss the first question. I should have said it's 40. The correct answer was 48% of people report snoring. But yeah, 4.7% of people reported nodding off while driving in the preceding month. John, you've got 2 points. Phil, you are on 1 point. Question 3, 30% of young adults report short sleep duration. The amount of sleep that they're getting is below what they should be getting. So 30% of young adults. Is the correct answer higher or lower? It goes to you, Phil?
Yes, I will go higher. This one, I think many people like me cannot go to sleep.
Okay, you think that the answer is higher than 30%? John, what do you think?
I totally agree. Higher.
And you're both correct. The correct answer is 37%. 37%. And I honestly would say I would have expected it to be even higher than that. But apparently 37%. Right? The score is now 3-2 in favor of John. John, you are on fire. You're 3 for 3. Number 4. And this one is a bit on the morbid side. 80,000 deaths occur each year in hospitals due to medical errors, to which sleep deprivation plays a significant role.
Really?
80,000 deaths due to medical errors because, and often doctors are under-rested, and that's part of the reason.
Oh,
so
I
80,000.
see. I see.
John, yes, yeah. No, so it's not the patients who are under-rested, it is the doctors. 80,000 deaths per year. John, you first.
I'm going to say higher. You know, doctors are really overworked, and like nurses and like the entire medical staff.
Okay. John thinks that it's more than 80,000 deaths per year due to medical errors. Phil, what do you think?
I got to imagine it's, man, I'm thinking strategically I should go with John here, but 80,000, here's my thought. If it's above that, how are people allowing this to happen to where we aren't demanding more doctors, more whatever, which is fine, which is, you know, there should be more. But God, I'm going to be so Pollyanna here. I'm going to go under. Please.
I wish you were right, Phil. I really wish you were right. But unfortunately, it is higher than 80,000. It's actually 100,000.
Good Lord.
100,000. Yeah, that's a lot. All right. For his dignity, question 5. Can you scrape back? John, you have beaten Phil. The score is 4-2. One more question. 1.9% of adults use melatonin. Ooh. So Phil, we'll go to you first.
1.9%. Man, because the fact that you said melatonin, I think that there are people who hit themselves with a hammer. I think there are people who just smoke and toke all their way to sleep. But melatonin specifically, I'm going to say that the market cap has to be higher than that. I bet a lot of people are taking the tonin.
Okay, and John?
I agree, especially like a lot of my friends I've been talking to more and more are dropping that word.
All right. Well, you've lost your perfect record. You're both wrong. It is lower. It was 1.3%.
What?
So there you go. 1.3% of adults use melatonin.
I didn't beat John. I don't have a winning week. I didn't even use my skipping stone. This is pathetic.
You did not. There you go. Congratulations, John. You've won, and let's move on to Phil's game. Hopefully I can scrounge together a win here.
Well, I'm hoping you can't, David, because I will admit I hit this one towards John's alley. Now, if there's one thing you know about John, that's not that he does dance. If there's one thing you know, it's that he's a Nicki Minaj stan. In the war that exists between Cardi B and Nicki Minaj, he proudly and buoyantly stands behind Nicki Minaj's big old beacon. He says, give me some Nicki Minaj à toi. Here we go. So I have some numbers. Go above or below Nicki Minaj. Let's go. How many albums does Nicki Minaj have above or below 6.5? And we will start with John.
Above or below 6.5?
Like, what? She released half an album?
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Yes, it's obviously the number itself isn't important. You're going above or below 6.5. Obviously, 6.5 albums doesn't exist. So is it 6 and below, or is it 7 albums and above?
Okay, is it me first or John first?
It is John first.
I'm going to shame myself right now. I don't know for a fact, so I'm going to say lower.
He's going to say lower, so 6 and below. David.
I'm going to go with lower as well.
All right.
I feel like, I don't know.
You both have chosen lower, and you both are incorrect. She actually has 7 4 studio and 3 compilation albums. I'm very surprised that you missed that one, John. We move along. How many singles does she have as a lead artist? Above or below 53? Hoffman, we start with your sighing self.
53?
Yeah, because remember an album.
Oh my God.
An album. How many are in an album? And she already has 7.
Yeah, but usually in an album for any normal artist, there's like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 singles, not like. Okay. All right. 53.
53.
I don't want to believe that it's higher than that. So you know what? I'm gonna bite the bullet and go lower. Lower than 53.
Lower, he says. John, do you have the bullet, the cojones, and the dancing thong to go above 53?
Sure. Let's do it. Higher than 53.
John, I'm highly disappointed in you. You have gotten it wrong. David is of course correct here.
On the board.
It is below, and it is 32. 32. There we go. How many singles? And we're going to start with you, Hoffman, first. How many singles has she appeared on as a featured artist? Above or below 69? Yeah.
I'm going to go above 69.
No, yeah.
Because when someone offers me 69, I'm going to stop right there.
Yeah. When they
69.
When they go low, we go 69. Go ahead. Go ahead, John. Above or below?
Let's say above.
Above. So just to be clear, John says above, and David, you say above?
I did say above. I did.
All right. You both get a point there. It is indeed above. It is just a tick, though, so it is above at 72. Next one, we move along with a score of John to 1, David at 2. So John still has a puncher's chance here. How many music videos has Nicki Minaj been featured in? And we go to you, Hoffman, first. How many music videos has Nicki Minaj been featured in? Above or below 43?
43. I think, gosh, I mean, I think there's a good chance, you know, she featured on so many singles that she probably maybe featured in more than, you know, more music videos as well. So I'm gonna guess above 43. Above
43. John, are you going to stay with the flow, or are you going to go your own woe?
I'm going to go my own woe, you know? Let's do it. I'm going to stay lower. I feel like I've said let's do it every question so far.
You have, and you have been wrong most of those times, and you continue that trend. It is absolutely cool. More. It is 89. A whopping 89.
89.
Yes. So we have officially clenched a victory for Hoffman. John, you have failed me. It is okay. With a score.
Clenched?
Yeah. Look at that. Look at that. He holds in between
all this talk of 69.
Yes, he holds between his cheeks a victory and a dub. John, let us see if you can get back to respectability, even if it is only at 2. Here we go, John. We will start with you. How much is Nicki Minaj's net worth? Is it above or below $99 million?
Below.
He says below. He does not believe that the queen of rap is worth more than $99. Now, Hoffman, do you have the cojones? Do you have the game, as it were, to say that she too is also below $99 million?
No, you know, I made this mistake with Cher, and I know Nicki Minaj has not been around nearly as long as Cher, but I'm gonna go with above $99 million.
And John, you get the last laugh here. She is only worth, as of March 9th, 2021, she is only worth a net worth of $85 million. $85 million. So if there's one thing John knows, it's his evaluation of the queen of rap. So there we are. John, you helped defeat me, and you helped give David a victory on your favorite artist. Dare I say of all time? Dare I say it?
I think you're embellishing a little bit, but I was a fan for sure.
Was a fan. There we go. All right, John. This is the part of the game and the part of the segment where I give it the floor to you. Do you have anything that you want to promote? Anything that you're wanting to push out there for the adoring public to know more about John?
No, just I don't know. Be good people. Live your life. Make good life choices. Yeah, do that.
Amen. And congratulations, by the way. I know this very well by the time of this recording. Maybe old news here, but congratulations on joining the comedy group that I saw a little while back.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely. If you want to hear and get more information about that, make sure you check out John Conley at all of his socials. John, what's your Instagram handle?
Conjo_11.
Conjo. How do you spell that?
CONJO, like bingo, but with different letters.
Like, like bingo, but with the different letters. Now that is a quote to live by. I love that. Thank you so much, John, for joining us. Really appreciate your time today. Now go off and scurry off to your next appointment, which am I allowed to say? Am I allowed to bring that up, or would you rather keep that on the DL?
Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So David, you're going to find this fascinating. I get a message by John saying, "Hey, by the way, what time do you guys think that we're going to end here? I need to know." And I said, by about 30 minutes. That's probably around a good time. And he says, "Oh, great. Because I needed to schedule, what did you need to schedule, John?"
A psychic reading.
A psychic reading after this recording. Now,
best of luck to you.
Yeah, I know. If we haven't been upstaged by a psychic reading, I've had many reasons to hurry along the interview, hurry along the segment. A psychic reading was new to me. I thought that was very novel. So enjoy your appointment. Enjoy your reading. Hopefully it brings about prosperity to you and to Nicki Minaj. All hail the queen.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys.
And with that fine, rousing game, I have tap danced my way to a stumbling 6-8, while David has salsa'd his way back to a tie at 7-7.
Ooh. Here we go for that slaps. I'm gonna let you go first, Phil. What slaps for you this week?
I always try to keep it to where it at least somewhat relates to the episode in question. So for mine, I'm going to go with a song called Sleep Forever. It's by Portugal the Man. It's very much a slow song. I love it.
It's a good song.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, I'm pleasantly surprised that
I love Portugal the Man.
Yeah.
They're great.
God,
I have like a whole playlist that has like 30 of their songs. It's like a 200 song playlist, and like 20 of the songs are Portugal the Man.
You are so lucky that there's a whole continent and ocean between us, or else I would give you the biggest smooch right now. Go ahead. What's your that slaps?
Okay, so this is I actually had to look up, like, because I think it's a very recent song, I think, but I have the tendency to miss things, so maybe it's not. But I had to look it up because I didn't actually know what it was. Well, I could guess what it was called, but I didn't know who it was by. It's been all over the radio, and I'm going to shamelessly say that I think this is a jam. It reminds me kind of Avril Lavigne. It's called Good For You by Olivia Rodrigo.
Oh, my
and
God.
I think it slaps. Don't you laugh at me. From me, Philip, and my co-host David, we would like to, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for tuning in to our sleepy episode this week. I think we hit you with some real knowledge. Like we got some real deep some facts, some statistics.
Oh yeah, we went so
even in
deep.
Our game.
We went so deep into sleep.
Yeah. Deep sleep.
Yeah, we are deep sleepers.
REM.
Oh, absolutely. We rammed you with REM.
I really am.
Yes, no, actually, yes. In all sincerity, we both are very deep sleepers. We have a couple thank yous that we need to get to.
Yeah, so thank you to Jake Corlang and to Cass and Crossland for the music that you hear on this show. We couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you.
Yes, thank you to Tara Amstutz for all of her beautiful graphic design work. We love to plug that wherever we can. And for the first time, thank you very much to Josh Hans for a lot of the segues that you'll be hearing that are recently added to our episodes. Thank you very much for that recent addition and for the more to come.
We would love for you guys to tune in every week. We are obviously on Spotify, Apple, Google, and iHeart. So tell your friends, spread the word. Follow us at POWWOW_podcast on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you so much for listening, and see you next week.
Oh my God! What is that in the air?
It's a bird. No, it's a plane.
Oh my God, it's a bear!